Hello everyone, it is Stephen and Andrea from Pin in the Atlas. Welcome to video number 2 on our ghost town tour. As you can see, we're on a trail. So where does this trail go?
So this trail hopefully leads to the ghost towns of Charleston and Millville. Let's take a look.
On our way up to Millville, there was a fork in the trail. It said petroglyph viewing area. So we decided to check this out first. And we found the rock. So there's a spiral pattern there. And you've got some figures down along the bottom here. I know some of the other ones are a little bit harder to make out. So I'm not sure what all of these mean. But you can sure let us know in the comment section. And on the back side of the rock there's a couple more here.
Archaeologists estimate that these petroglyphs date back several hundred years. Now they do know that this whole area was a Native American village back in the 1700s, and it wasn't until the late 1800s that gold and silver was discovered. Now the difference between a petroglyph and a pictograph is a petroglyph has been carved into the rock and a pictograph has been painted onto the rock. You can remember that. There is an easy way. If you think of picture as a painting.
As you can see just over the way, those are the ruins of Millville. And you see these tree-lined stream here? It's kind of dry now. There's a little bit of water in there. We decided to come over here because the remains of Charleston are supposed to be on this side of the river and the railroad that we crossed over. There's no tracks anymore, it's just a gravel road, but you can tell that used to be the railroad. Now in World War II, they used this entire area for war games. So there was a large sign that said, "Beware, this is a former military training site. There may be unexploded ammunitions around." So down in that valley somewhere is the remnants of Charleston Ghost Town. We, however, cannot even see them from this angle. So we'll head over to Millville. This is that beautiful little stream I mentioned earlier that we had to cross to try to find the remains of Charleston. Needless to say, I believe this is not one of our most proudest moments. But this is what happens when you don't wear the correct gear for the terrain. We walked through a lot of prickly bushes. Here are the rock foundations of the Gertz home. And you can see right up there, those are some old bricks, I think from one of the fireplaces. And I apologize for the funky angle, but if I do it any other way, the camera's going to be in the shot and it'll kind of ruin the picture. But this is how the mill used to look back in the day. And this first photo, and you see just above it on the right hand side, that was the Gurd's home. And the photo right next to it kind of shows you the different levels and how they built it on the side of the mountain. And then the other mill, looks like we've kind of reached the end of the trail. People have made their way down to this little wash here. But these stone foundations are all the remains of the mill site. Again, absolutely beautiful scenery. And over on that side, that's that little hill right there that we were standing on, looking for the Charleston town site.
So sometimes ghost towns aren't what we expect. To be quite honest, I was expecting a little bit more ruins than this. We were disappointed that we couldn't get to Charleston because that was the large town that was built originally to house the workers for the mine and ended up becoming a main town. Unfortunately, as you saw from my legs and from the bush, we didn't make it. But next town, see you there.
Alright everyone, as you can see, we have officially left Millville in Charleston. You'll never guess where we are now. Well, obviously, we're in a ghost town. So, what ghost town would we be in now?
Well, we are in Fairbank ghost town, which is just a few miles down the road from Charleston and Millville, and we're standing outside what was once the post office of Fairbank. This actually closed in the 1970s. Prior to that, this was a general store, a saloon, a hotel, and this tiny little building here was a house. Somebody lived there.
Now this little house, tried to look into that window. You can kind of see it with the naked eye, but through the camera lens you can't see anything. It's too dusty, too dirty. And along the back side, this window is going to be the same. Can't even see through the naked eye. Maybe this one we might catch a little bit of a... I can see a bit. And the reflection is quite strong in there.
Oops. Quite a lot of mouse poop.
Yeah.
Look at the old floorboards underneath the lino.
Paint peeling, plaster peeling off the walls. And that one
This is all
can't see through.
all adobe brick. This is BLM land now, and I did read that BLM did put a new roof on this building to try and preserve it.
Yeah, see, these windows are just a little too dirty to really get a good view in. And they got screens over these windows. Now notice the difference in the bricks here. Underneath are some of the original adobes, and then you got a stone foundation. It looks like they're doing some repair work up top here.
I forgot to mention that this also served as the jail. So I wonder, looking at these bars, I wonder whether or not this section was the jail side of it.
That makes sense. Strong foundations.
So Fairbank used to be called Kendall, and then they changed the name. And it was originally a stagecoach stop for Tombstone and then railroad. Oh, let's see if we can peek in the window. Can't see anything. Yeah, so it was a stagecoach stop and then railroad for Tombstone, which means also all of those cowboys and the
Outlaws, bandits
used to also come here.
Let's see what else is left in this little ghost town / historic site.
The maps actually don't make it that clear. So this building here is the schoolhouse. That has got a sign about it. Unfortunately closed today to get in. Looks like they've got it as a museum. Now, one of the houses was where the school teacher lived. The other one was just a house, and the other one over there was some sort of stable or animal enclosure. So let's take a look.
Here you go. These windows are a little bit better to look in. That floor has seen better days. But this is starting to look like it was the teacher's home. And this window almost looks brand new compared to the rest. So they may be doing some restoration work in here. See some walls torn apart and things like that. They have painted one of the sections. You can see that there's paint all over the window at the front door. So yeah, here's a better angle. Like I was saying earlier, it does look like the BLM is attempting to restore this building on the inside. See, it looks like brand new molding around those door casings. And some of the walls, yeah, there is fresh paint in there as well. You can see some of the overspray.
You can see a lot of the overspray.
Some of the original electrical box there. Wow.
And then you can see the other side of the house. The bathroom.
Kinda. Yeah, some of the...
I can't read what it says, but 20th... Is that a 9?
9, maybe.
So 9/20/54.
Can't read the name anymore either. There's a little signature at the bottom.
That's pretty neat.
Hmm.
So let's take a look at these last buildings before we make our way to the cemetery and the mill. So this apparently was another house, another homestead. And now a junk shop.
Ah.
Oh, look at that old bottle.
Yeah.
Get the bottle.
Yep, just got it.
And the safe.
Yeah,
There's a safe to
you can
the
see
right.
the safe there. Some old stuff and some new stuff.
This looks more like a barn, though, than a homestead. If you look on the other side, it looks like barn doors.
Yeah.
And then you've got a little loft hatch at the top.
Yeah. The lizard just went hiding in there. And then I definitely know what this building is.
No town would be without a dunny. And here you have two side by side, so you can sit and chat while you do your business.
Big timing. And then this
Again,
one,
this is
yeah,
the-
there's the animal pen, livestock pen. All right. Where are we heading next?
Let's head to the trail. If we go down and check out the cemetery and the mill.
All right. We walked up here to the Fairbank Cemetery, and we both really like this saying. This historic site is part of America's heritage. The past belongs to the future, but only we can preserve it. Very true, very poignant, very well said. So we're going to do a quick walk around the cemetery here. Looks like there's a small little loop trail. And right at the beginning, see those 4 posts there that would mark what we believe was a grave at some point as well.
What I find so sad is there's no name tags. You don't know who's buried here, and they all had a purpose in life for however long. Now this little one here looks to me like a child, but we'll never know.
No, they were human. They lived lives. They dreamed. Now they're sleeping forever. This might have been a family plot.
Another child.
Very humble graves. For quite the hard life that they lived. They deserve a little bit better than this. That's what also gets us about some of these cemeteries. I mean, here you see there's just piles of rocks. You don't really know which ones are graves and which ones are just piles of rocks. Like this here. It looks like they've been purposely set there, but have they been? That large stone there, is that marking a grave? Sometimes you just never know. You see these over here? The bushes have grown up over them, so over time the rocks get knocked away.
This one's dated 1919, but I don't understand any of that, what's written.
No.
And look at this one over here. We'll just take a look at this one, hidden amongst the undergrowth. I can't make out a lot. Mary Nelson, wife of J.B. McAllister, died February 5th, 1899.
Here we're coming up to the last grave on the little trail. So it's got a wrought iron perimeter. Be it again. To here to remain nameless. Here we are about a mile down the trail from the cemetery. And we've come to the remains of the Grand Central Mill. Very reminiscent of what we saw at Millville. Only stone foundations left in the hillside.
So this is a 12 to 15 stamp mill, and it still looks massive. And some of them are like 100 stamp mill or 200 stamps, but this up to 15.
There is a well-weathered photo of what this stamp mill would have looked like back in the day.
So this was one of 7 mills that supported the Tombstone mines along the San Pedro River. And did you know that the ore was hauled by 20 mule teams?
Yeah, Death Valley had the big borax mine. They did the big 20 mule team. They still got a borax mine that's running out there in California. And on the town of Needles, their big Welcome to Needles sign is one of the original borax wagons. Very impressive to see in person. So I guess that's going to wrap up everything that we know at this mill site.
Let's head on back to the town.
All right. Further along the trail, more ruins of the mining operations. So you got a good section of brick right there. And then the San Pedro River is just at the tree line. That's where we're walking towards next. You see all those pieces Andrew's digging through. They're now historic, so anything over 50 years, if you find it out in the desert or around old mining sites, don't take it, don't touch it. It's now historical. Leave it where you found it. Here's a site you should become accustomed to seeing around the mill sites and mining areas. Open mine shafts. Here's the old railway bridge going across the San Pedro River, which this section is dry. If you recall earlier, we're by Charleston and Millville. There still was a decent amount of flowing water. Here's an even older section of the old railroad bridge. Cat's overgrown. The rust from the metal on the sides going down the beams. Really pretty. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up this video here at Fairbank, Ghost Town. And one thing we would like to say is everyone's definition of a ghost town is going to be different. I know when I think of a ghost town, I like to picture a place kind of like Chernobyl. It's an entire town, just nobody lives there anymore. The true definition of a ghost town is when the post office actually closes. That is what constitutes a town to become a ghost town. And then there's places like we were at earlier, Millville and Charleston, where there's nothing but ruins left. With those places, I think like most people, we're quite disappointed with that. We would like to see more. So we don't really class those as ghost towns. Those are just ruins or foundations. But anyways, do you have a fun fact you would like to share with everyone?
Fun fact, in 1900 there was an attempted train robbery Now, a gentleman, or the marshal at the time, was Jeff Milton, and he was guarding the gold. And Three-Fingered Jack, true name, Three-Fingered Jack and a couple of other bandits attempted to rob the train. There was a massive shootout. Jeff Milton did get shot in the arm, in the shoulder, and supposedly was rushed to San Francisco to save his arm. Don't see how it's San Francisco in California, but maybe there was another town at the time. Anyway, Three-Fingered Jack was also Three-Fingered Jack was also shot, but he did survive for a while, and later died of his wounds and is buried in Boot Hill Cemetery in Tombstone. True story.
Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on this adventure.
And remember, get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure.
Bye.
Bye.